Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to FM24 Youth Factory, episode 38. We have our intake, 4 top talents, a number of good talents, and a few decent talents overall, seen as a 4.5-star one. Looking at our top talents first, a goalkeeper, defensive mid, and 2 left wingers. Potentially one of them can play in the middle or on top. Decent options showing up. In the next row, the best current ability player, but looks like limited overall potential, is another attacking mid player at any of the positions across top, and actually American born here, 15-year-old with good dribbling, finishing, first touch, free kick taking, and a number of other attributes to go with it, and fairly professional, but with limited potential. So probably we'll get there first, having already glanced at these ones. This is the worrying one with low determination, and that's worrying for me because that's the position we need most at defensive mid, so we're going to need to try to get that personality right very quickly. Good handling for our fairly professional young goalkeeper, but limited in other areas. We have a fairly ambitious player here with good acceleration and bravery, but not much else. And Whitehouse is balanced, which could be anything. Having seen various tests done on the game, balanced is the worst personality they could possibly have, sort of. I mean, there are some really obvious bad ones, but balanced could be so many different things that it's hard to say exactly what they are. Classified officially as a striker for this one. Technique's good, the dribbling's good, the first touch is good already. Number of strong mental attributes for such a young player. Good pace already. Natural fitness is fairly high. Could be, potentially, a fairly good player, though the finishing, if they're going to be a striker, is going to need to be improved. Our under-21s have been really poor this season. For the first time, we really unloaded a lot of under-21s players who were just not good enough, cutting down that squad significantly, and we promoted quite a few guys to the senior squad, so a shell of what they had become the last couple of years. Just 2 draws on the year for our under-21s. But meanwhile, the U18s are the best we've seen yet. Division 2 South leaders, having played 16 of 18 matches, so just 2 to go, but it's very, very close amongst the top 3. They could gain promotion and win the league, or they could be out entirely and spend another year in the same division they're in. We'll watch a half here of the U18s and intake just to get a look at what's there, but the intake is in the green here with our U18s, our strong U18s this year in purple today. U18s keeper Lloyd comes out and clutches that corner kick. The U18s are fairly well established. You can see a good header there, creates a space, but it goes right into the defender and slams it into him. That was never going to beat him there. Goes pretty close. There's a couple names in here that I'm recognizing as like Koyo Apuko is a pretty decent prospect there. Plain is one of the guys I was considering for our defensive mid retooling that we're going to have to do for the coming season. We're definitely going to be a bit weaker at that position, and we're going to have some younger players getting time. Can't just be 2 guys. It's going to have to obviously be at least 3 for that. Great attack there, headed away by Taylor. Good recovery from him. Another cross, another chance. And right now the U18s are all over the intake players, showing their quality. But possession, despite that, is actually favoring the intake players for now. Free kick, dangerous position. It goes very close to scoring. Keeper making a big save on that one. Twine, that's one of those big players for us. Twine Clift. Definitely starting to get more into the game than they were. We've had 2 chances now in the last few minutes. And like I said, the intake is getting possession. They're just not able to turn it into chances. So there's some individual quality that's not being met. That makes you think that within this intake there might be more potential than there is current ability. Bergman starts a nice counterattack there. Continues to run into that space. He does have some players coming in. Walker, nice turn there and scores. So the opening goal is from the intake players. Bergman's cross. Whitehouse might have been offside there, but no flag is raised as the defense heads it away. But Walker quick recovery, beats his man. Nice little bit of individual talent there, and puts that one in. Steve Walker. Okay, that's that best current ability American player with limited potential. But that's one half in the books with a slight possession advantage. They got slightly outplayed, but a nice individual effort by seemingly the most talented individual player on the intake group has come away with the 1/2 goal. Let's go ahead and push forward. We have 2 important league games that are coming next in the next week and a half. They will largely decide the fate of our club for this season, even though there's still about 9 league matches to go, give or take. The following 7 or so from that point on are going to be up against much easier opposition. If we can get through the next 2 matches with a win and a draw, or 2 wins, or at least 2 draws, so we're not losing ground on them, we're going to be in pretty good shape for the remainder of the season. There are 16 players in the intake, and we have our initial look at them coming in with Steve Walker is the best one, and actually by quite some margin. He's almost ready for senior level play and actually does have decent potential, so he was under evaluated there. We already know he's professional too, so actually he's coming in as one of those best options by far. But going in through by potential ability, it's already pretty obvious which ones need to go. We're talking about 4 players here that either all lack potential, but the 2 that have a little bit better potential also lack current ability, so it's pretty obvious to me that they need to go. Aveston might need to stay as a defensive mid. That might be somebody we need to hang on to, but we can immediately ditch these 4. That means we now have 12 left in the intake. Twinecliff is the best one available, but also the one that has the low determination, so this is going to be tricky for us. It's a very important position, very big position of need. The current ability is not good enough, so we are going to have to leave him sit in the U18s and hope that he finds a way to develop. These top ones are obvious choices, including Steve Walker, Matthews, Green, Wright. All of them are easy choices for signings. There's a pretty big drop-off after there. So we know we're going to want to take these 8 for certain. We'll have to assess the other 4 on an individual case-by-case basis. Having assessed those 4 additional players, a difficult choice for some to make. Easy for others. Reality is it's a game, so it's a lot easier to make. But of those bottom 4, we're going to keep Joe Taylor, as he's a definite upgrade. We've got 2 left backs that we're going to be letting go, and he's an upgrade in terms of potential by quite a bit, as they're like low 80s. And 37's okay on the current ability. He's got a good chance to develop. Brody Aveston we're also going to take with dual fullback range and similar type thing. Bergman, we're going to go ahead and take winger. Not great potential with that 90, but it's definitely better than some, and he's got the right personality to develop and get the most out of himself, and has the best current ability of the group. The last one, though, brother to Brody, we presume anyway, Scott Aveston. I'm not going to take him. Scott Aveston has the lowest current ability of the group by far. He has the lowest potential of the group. We are already in that low 80s are becoming a thing of the past, right? The lowest guy who is here is the Koya Apoku, who's an 80-86. He's a 25-87. We're not going to wait for him to develop. He's got the wrong personality type anyway. He's unambitious. He's lazy. So we're going to take one brother and not the other. And actually, it's the younger brother. So we'll take 3 out of those 4, which means we are taking 11 players from this intake. But we've already let go quite a few players this season. 4, 5? Out of a need, out of a necessity. So really, that's only plus 7. And there's a good 8 or 9 more that I've got intentions of releasing, and most of them will get released. So at best, we're going to be about stable on our numbers going into next season. 3rd straight road game. fourth straight road game. No, fourth straight road game. It's been a difficult stretch, but we've fared decently well so far, except for the loss to Plymouth, who is League One, and it was in the Johnson's Bank Trophy, or whatever it's called these days, Papa John's Trophy. The competition, we're out of it now. But that was a loss. That was a game that we dominated most of it. We led 1-0. We should have had more goals than what we had. It should have been 2-0 at that point. They made a breakthrough here as Pennant was offside, no goal. Our players were going ballistic that it didn't get called sooner. Anyway, that competition behind us, that's the only loss we've had in a long time, and even then it was hardly a loss. The final score was 3-1, but it was 3 goals back to back to back very late in the game, and for the first one, we changed things up where we went ultra defensive, and we were still making those transitions, and the players didn't handle it. And then the second one happened before we could even swap things back around, so there was a real miscommunication in our style in that 2 minutes in between when that happened. And then the third one was when we were throwing everything into the attack, and they got behind us on a counter. Really unlucky in terms of how the game actually went versus what the result was. It definitely showed we could hang with League One sides, but I don't think we would be any sort of favorite next year. I think we would have to be probably going through a rebuild year, especially with the players we've already offloaded this season. Plus, that was close. Plus the addition of Atkins heading out here at the end of the season to really bring down that salary into a reasonable range. So a little bit of a rebuild next year as we go up into League One. We're going to have a number of young players into the squad, and I expect it's going to take us 2 seasons to get things firmly under control. But we'll have FFP firmly under control. We won't have to worry about anything then. This season, we want to worry about these 2 matches as Davidson gives us the 1-0 lead. We worry about these 2 matches because it's the last 2 difficult matches we have, and all I care about, and this is all Davidson, forcing with the pressure, forcing the ball off-footed center back and giving himself a one-on-one with the keeper that Burgoyne didn't even really challenge or react to in a meaningful way. And we're heading towards halftime with a 1-0 lead. If we can take all 3 points in either of these 2 matches, if we can take all 3 points and a draw in the combination of these 2 matches, we will be looking at a easy path towards a top 3 finish and promotion to League One. No changes at the half. No players playing poorly, and some players playing better. Of course, Davidson has a big boost to his rating after that individual effort to force the turnover and convert, putting the ball in the back of the net. We'll see what we can do here in the second half. But Leyton Orient is the highest ranked team in the league that we have left to play for the entirety of the season, for these last 9 matches or 8 matches, whatever we're at now. But they have got an early equalizer here. Ibrahim making a run. We didn't mark it very well. That was Sam Lyons, who didn't pick him up terribly well. Got a step behind him, and then the help just wasn't there. And the marking on the other players while they were making a run, we just kind of held the line, but we weren't picking anybody up, and so it left the target, the pass option open, and he was able to convert. So pretty even so far as we've played an hour now. Pennant, I think Julian might have had that covered, but that was pretty damn close. You can see that Lyons definitely took a dip in his rating for that. Lanahan Penreese is struggling a bit, so we're going to go ahead and bring on and then Atkins just picked up a yellow. Atkins actually is not that good. Lee Ward is a bit of a drop-off, but Atkins, his rating is, I think, the weakest now of our traditional starting 11 from the beginning of the year. He's been left behind. That's a goal kick. Not offside. Looks like that would have stood. Davidson had a chance to get us back on top, but here we are going into those final minutes, and no change. We're not going to change anything here. I can't change Wiley. I can't change Lines as we've already put Ward in. Hassel is struggling, but not tired enough, and I'm not changing a defender this late. So no expected changes here unless we are to suddenly grab a goal. Stoppage time. No highlights. Final minute. Here is a highlight just before the end. Is this going to be the last chance? And is it theirs, or can we force a turnover, hit them on the counterattack in the final seconds? For now, they are just playing keep away. Under 30 seconds to go. Thought we had poked it away there, but we did not. Wiley, who I thought had a piece of that to poke it, but still them just possessing into the final seconds. Last chance, last-ditch effort, final whistle. From the way the first half went, you figured we could continue on our way towards 3 points, but they came out very strong early into the second half, got most of their XG in that single chance, and, 2 shots on target, 5 total shots on target, and 2 goals. That's 40% conversion rate. That's already high. And XG right about 1 each possession. Actually, not even in our favor. We only had it 42%. So that being said, 1-1's a good result. And the main thing is to not lose ground on these rivals. And here we don't. With 7 matches left now, we continue to sit in second place, but we're not in as stable of a position as we were. For one thing, FC Halifax have pulled away a little bit. They're 6 points clear. They could still collapse, but I just saw a headline that said they have gone unbeaten 20 in a row at home, which means pretty much the entirety of this season has been either a win or a draw at home. All 7 of their losses on the road. But 7 losses out of about 20 on the road means that they do lose the occasional one. They can drop some points, but they are clear favorites at this stage with 7 matches to go. I gotta say we're probably still favorites to at least get a top 3, if not second place, with just 1 difficult match left, or 2 really, because Port Vale is also still ahead of us, but everything else is going to be bottom half. So with an easy final 7, we just finished a stretch of 4 straight road matches. Like, that combination of factors and still being in the position we're in, still have one more difficult one to get through, so it still can change. A loss would definitely hurt us, but I'd say we're looking pretty good. But we've got a young team that has been known to struggle late in a season. As we are second, I'm hoping that that struggle won't emerge, that it won't be there, that they'll keep pushing on, that it won't be about the title. They'll be chasing the title, and for that, it'll keep them motivated, as opposed to feeling the pressure of maybe slipping out of the automatic promotion zone. But speaking of, we were 11 points clear, but we had played more games. That was before this crazy hard stretch where we've drawn like all of them. So Hartlepool is the one team that really has, I think they've won every single game in that stretch. They were not 4th before. I think they were like 7th, and they've won every game. So they have moved up. They have closed the gap. They are threatening. And a definite threat. I mean, they're plus 30 on the goal differential and just 4 points behind us now, 7 to go. That's easily within range. I don't know what their schedule looks like at this stage. We'll probably get a look at that soon enough. But Accrington Stanley is a little bit further back, 8 points behind. Leyton Orient, 9 points behind, all a little closer. But again, we just had a very difficult stretch, and we drew each of them. So each of those teams didn't gain on us individually, but in their other matches, they were able to go out and get wins and gain on us a little bit. So outside of Hartlepool, who won their whole sequence, Accrington Stanley and Leyton Orient were both in this stretch. They were both teams that we just played. York haven't, and they're 12 points back. Ebbsfleet, Port Vale, I'm no longer worried about those teams with just 7 matches to go, and 5 or 6 of our matches being on the easier side where we can easily claim another 15 points or 12 points from those. So more so, I think we're just looking at Hartlepool, Accrington Stanley, and Leyton Orient now as the remaining threats to our automatic promotion. I'm completely fine if we take 2nd or 3rd. I do not need to come out of this as league winners this year. Just getting that successive promotion, getting us that little bit closer while we retool, build that reputation, get into the new stadium, etc., all kind of falls into place. Going in reverse order here, it's actually even easier than I thought. So Yeovil, Bradford City, Exeter, Crewe, Solihull Moors, all of them are 14th or worse in the league. They're all in the bottom, easily the bottom half. Newport County, 12th, away. With the road game stretch behind us, we're at home to Port Vale, 9th. So these next 2 games are literally the hardest ones that remain on the calendar and aren't looking too bad right now. And I think we've got to be favorites to be able to claim most of the points available to us the rest of the way. Right? Looking at the recent form over the last 4 months, like the occasional draw and a rare loss are possible. Rochdale and Bolton are actually bottom end teams, and we just had this really difficult stretch. But also for 2 months straight, it's been 1 goal in every single match. We've played 9 straight matches with 1 goal scored. Davidson was injured for more than half of that. Archie Jones has been injured for more than half of that. He's just coming back. Davidson is finally back to 90 available and has not found his form yet. He's only scored 1 in 2 months. Or I think he scored against, he did score against FC Halifax the day he got injured. So either end of it, he's had 1. That hurts. And, the absence of Jones hurts. The absence of McCartney hurts. The absence of other key players that we let go at the end of January hurts. We are scoring less goals as a result. Our defense remains solid. Even though Kitching is gone, even though Mortland is gone, we've been very efficient in front of our goal. But the last 3 times, we did give up 1 goal, but managed to score 1 ourselves. But with some easier opponents, as those were all better teams. Well, not Swindon, actually. Swindon was 1 weaker team, but that was the day we lost McCartney, and that was the one rough day, and that was the last day of vacation. I think as long as you don't lose both the Port Vale and the Newport County games, minimum we're scoring 15 points in these last 7. I think we can do more. Last contract that we still needed to negotiate for the coming season was Ben Hassel, and Ben Hassel's making $216K per year, but barely played the last few years. He's only just gotten back into that starting role after the absence of Kitching a month and a half ago. He's always played a bit, though, but he loves the club. He loves it here. He wants to stay. He wants to become more noteworthy within the club, but he's actually looking for about $100K less than what he's making now, which is fantastic. It's a great way to keep him around long term. We'll go with the regular starter, and nice. I think we can get him signed for multiple years at a very reasonable sum, and again, better than what he's making now to put us in a stronger FFP position. All right, 3 years, $141K. Definite drop. I like it. Still only grab at a goal a game, but this time it was enough to win, and that is them playing down to 10 for almost the entire match. 10th minute, David Mooney gets sent off. I also pick up an injury and a player booked who's possibly complaining about setting. But 11-7 on the shots, 7-2 on target, 66% possession. Davidson scores early, but we still can't get 2 on the board. And Archie Jones does finally get a chance to play, bouncing back from his injury, and Wiley never did come on, so either somebody else played in the position or we had to move somebody around. But Wilkinson got the assist, got the man of the match for this one, and it might still be another 1-goal affair, but at least it is the 3 points that we needed. Meanwhile, Forest Green, with the upset against FC Halifax, that's 3rd place against 1st place, so big matchup there, and it does give us a window to the title, which could be both good and bad, because it could put the pressure on us, which could see us slip down, because Hartlepool continues to score the points that they needed, beating Northampton 3-0, and we've got a very tight contest with 6 matches to play. Depending on the outcome of those matches and what we have to play for, whether we're playing to hang on to a top 3, whether we're playing to take the championship, will all alter the last 6 games and the decisions that I make. We're going to take it 1 game at a time. I'm not just going to go on vacation, but it's going to either be instant result if there's nothing much to play for, or we'll play things live if there's something big to play for. big being the Hartlepool or the FC Halifax ends. Forest Green, couldn't care less if we finish above or below them. But Hartlepool, or whoever's third, right? Don't care about whoever's in that second, third window with us. It's the team just above it and team just below it. FC Halifax looked like it was going to be out of reach. Suddenly in reach. Hartlepool, keeping pace. Now, the gap to the others has grown as Leyton Orient drop points once again. Accrington, Stanley, and York, they're thereabouts, but it's 11 plus points to them now. And it's 16 points to Ebbsfleet with 6 to play. Getting close to securing our future. I really do think right now we just put ourselves in position for a race to the top 4. Where do we finish in that race? And how close is it will determine how many of those games we play live. Or we instant result all 6 and do the off-season special right into the next episode. If it's just a comfortable top 3. Or if it's comfortable first. Or if it's... I wouldn't do the uncomfortable 4th, though. Like, if we start losing, pressure's on. We're going to start playing games. That's going to do it for this episode. One way or another, the end of the season is coming with a bit still to play for. But 3 out of 4 potential positions for us are the outcome we want. So I'm pretty happy with our options at this point. I'm a Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.